Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to everybody. Hopefully, everybody's doing very well. And we're going to get things started. We're just waiting for all of you guys to come into the room. Hey, how are you? Alrighty, special guest, just waiting for you to send a request and we'll get things started. Hello. Nikki.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, friend. Hey, Nikki.
Hi, Bessie. I see you on here. All right, everybody, we're about to get this thing started right now. Who you guys see over here is my special guest, whose album will be coming out in a few hours on
Mhm.
January 23rd, 2026. And you get to know more about him from web reality series. It's my boy, DJ. So, DJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me back. It's good to be here.
I know. Alrighty. Since I know who you are, because we've been friends for a long time,
Long
which we won't
time.
tell none of y'all how long, but let everybody know your name and your beginnings.
For those that do not know me, my name is DJ the Singer. I am a singer, songwriter. I wear many hats. I've worked with some people that you know and some people that you don't know. But I have a slew of talents, but my primary is music. I love music and everything about it.
Okay. Hi, Devin. Hey, Tramel.
Hey, Devin.
Yes, he could sing down, nigga, but we gonna get into that. Now, let everybody know where you from.
From Athens, Georgia, Clark County, the 706. The 706.
Uh huh. Hey, cuz I see you on here. Now, let me let everybody know since we know you from Athens, and a lot of people who are from because he's currently in Atlanta.
Yes.
Let everybody know who else is from Athens that we all know
They
besides
know
yourself.
Miss Phaedra Parks. Fun fact, Phaedra used to be my babysitter. Her and her sister used to babysit me and my brother when we were kids. And Nene Leaks is from Athens. REM, the rock band REM is from Athens. Bubba Sparks is from that area. So a lot of people don't give Athens love, but there's some pretty prominent people that come out of Athens.
Okay. Now, I didn't know that, and we've been friends for a long time. You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I don't brag about a lot of stuff, but yeah, like Phaedra Parks and her sister used to babysit my brother and I. Her sister recently ran for public office in DeKalb County, but my mom used to work with their mom, and so we would see them all the time, and we needed a babysitter. So yeah.
Okay. Now, a lot of people like how I know you. Well, I know you for singing, but I know a lot of people don't know you've done a lot of like web reality series and scripted series online.
Mhm.
You want to let everybody know the stuff like the resume
So
of
we
what
did a
you done.
scripted series 2015. We filmed it from 2015 to 2017 called Planet Venus. We only had one episode. The season did not air. But it was that series. It was another series that we were in pre-production with that didn't come into fruition. But I also did On the Way Up Atlanta season 3. I was a friend of the show season 1 and season 2. But I was a full-time cast member season 3. We were filming season 4 at the same time that we were filming the scene Atlanta, and we were supposed to be coming right after, but we're no longer coming back for season 4. But I'm currently a cast member on the scene Atlanta, and that's the reason why you really don't see me as much as you probably would have, because due to contractual stuff, we were filming, like I said, On the Way Up Atlanta and the scene at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So for contractual reasons, I couldn't. But yes.
Alrighty. Now, from we gonna get to his music in a bit because I know that's
Yeah,
what a
we're
lot
gonna
of you
get to the
guys want to
music,
know
but we're gonna
about. We're
get
gonna
to the
get to the
good
music
stuff
in a
too.
bit,
You'll see
but
me on the shows shaking
yeah,
tables and stuff.
yeah, we know we all know those moments. But out of all the like the web reality like scripted series that you done, which one was your favorite that you did?
Um, I'm gonna say both, and I only say both because both shows afforded me a certain level of viewership. but
Hmm.
also I had a little bit of I had a little bit more rain with some than others, but then there were others where it was like, okay, I mesh well over here more so than I do over here. So both shows balance out. If I had to pick a favorite though, yeah, man, I'd have to say both. I'd have to say both. I genuinely had a good time on both sides.
Hmm. Okay. Now I know on the way up Atlanta, which I love both of them too. But I know
Yeah.
on the way up Atlanta, what we got to see on season three, we got to see a lot of like, well, the personal side of you, like when you went home
Mm-hmm.
and you sang at your mom's church and everything.
I'm a
When you
preacher's kid.
when you rewatched it, because I know you filmed it, but I know when you rewatched it and you saw it, how did it make you really feel when you had a lot of people were saying like, because his name is Melvin, so when they're like Mel, 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 instead of saying DJ, what was your reaction when you got to see like like familiar faces from from the past to up to now?
You know what? I'm one of those where it's really just kind of which name do you know? You want to go what's the show? Cheers, you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Knows
It's
your
just which
name,
name do you know? And so that's kind of what it was watching it back. It's like you go home, they know depending on where you go, it's Mel, it's one of those nicknames I'm gonna keep to myself because that ain't for y'all. But
that
like you know what I mean? Like it just depends on who you're around, which name you're gonna get. If you're in front of my uncle, you'll get Junior because I'm named after my daddy.
daddy, yeah,
So it just depends on who you're around and where you are, which name you get. But even watching that show back, when you know better, you do better. And so going back and watching that show, I will say I definitely saw some areas of opportunity. I definitely could have been better in my communication in certain ways and better with my delivery of said communication. But like I said, you live and you learn. When you know better, you do better.
exactly. And one of those, better, you do better. We're gonna bring this up and we're gonna clear the air for this for good. Because a
Okay.
lot of people kept asking you about it between you and Trey Morris.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you guys I know you guys were once friends. I know you guys had a frenemy thing on the show. But
Mm-hmm.
currently, where are you guys at right now?
I will say this. I've seen a few things that Trey has done since the show, and I will say, if nothing else, I'm exceptionally proud of him. I have nothing but love for Trey. I have nothing but support for Trey. I'm glad that he has recently I saw recently he got engaged. And he's doing his music thing, so I'm proud of him. I have nothing but love for any one of my cast members, whether we got along or not. Life is short, and hey, you let bygones be bygones. You recognize the error in your ways. You attempt to adjust with or without, and you move forward. And that's kind of where I'm at. If we ever get the opportunity to sit down and hash things out, then hey, I'm all for it. Like I said, that was you. You were my brother before anything else. So, you know, reality TV BS aside, I don't care about none of that other stuff. I love that man, and I would die on that hill, regardless of what anybody else had to say.
Okay. Now we can clear that up. Now we can get into where it gets bigger and better now. Let's get into like family dynamic because I know tell everybody about your parents and like your siblings. That way, if anybody wants to know that, they'll get a good deal of who you are.
I come from a pretty well-rounded church background. I know people see me out here. Sometimes you may get the ratchet version of me. You might get the turnt version. You might get the freak version, whichever version it is.
Hmm.
I come from a very well-rounded Christian background. My mother is a retired assistant principal. When my father was living, he retired from the University of Georgia. My parents were real big on God and education. God first, and then get an education so you can support yourself. And so that's where we came from. Two-parent household. I know there are some people out here, and my heart goes out to those people. There are some people out here that do not know that they are loved and or wanted by either one of their parents. My parents made sure my brother and I knew that we were not only wanted, but we were loved and cared for. So that's my background. I come from a very close-knit family.
Okay. Now that we know that, now let's get into like you said with education and everything. How was education for you when you were like from elementary going up to high school and maybe college also?
I was an AB student up until I got to my freshman year of college. Freshman year of college, I went buck wild. There was a I like to I like to call this era of my life a disruption because it really was. Short story, I wanted to go to Clark Atlanta. My parents wanted me to go to SC State. I was dating someone that my parents did not approve of, and they were willing to do whatever they needed to do to get me from under that situation and into a better one. The situation that they thought was a better one was not a better one. And so, yeah, I'm just now really coming out of that hole. I'm just at not just personally, but academically. I'm just now coming up out of that hole. And that was almost 20 years ago. So, you know what I mean? Like we're just now getting into the depths of what that is. And so I'm set to graduate from Morris Brown with my bachelor's in business come May. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Nice. You know, you're not gonna talk about that privately
We're gonna
off
talk about it
camera.
later. Trust
We're
me,
gonna talk about that later
if the
off
cameras are
camera.
rolling, they'll get it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off camera.
Yes, if the
Now,
cameras are rolling, we will get it.
when did you discover that you had a love for music?
I've always loved music. From the time I was probably the earliest that I remember anybody saying anything to me about singing was two. There's a video of me singing at my second birthday party. Lord, I know I've been changed. My grandmother taught me that song and sang it at my second birthday party, and I had been humming at you ever since. So yeah, as long as I can remember being a child in the car listening to Kurt Franklin, Mary J. Blige, Aaliyah, Parliament, Elton John, Erica Badu as a child, Clark sisters, you know, PJ, not PJ Morton. Who am I thinking about? Um, God, he's at the tip of my tongue. Gospel great, but and it'll come up later on in the interview. And if it
Yeah,
comes to me, I'll
if
definitely
it
throw it
comes
out
up,
there.
just let it out. No problem.
Yeah, but yeah, just riding in the car and you get all of these different sounds and all these different genres of music, and you want to do that. You want to get into the lyrical aspect. You see Whitney Houston and not Mary J. Blige, but Mariah Carey and Luther Vandross on TV, and they make it look so effortless, and you want to do it too. And
Hmm.
then my daddy was a singer and a saxophone player and a trumpet player, so I always had music around. So there was really kind of no escaping that. And then church, like I said, was paramount. My daddy at the time was
HK.
a deacon, but eventually became a preacher. And so church was always in me. So every Sunday, you knew you were going to church. You knew you were going to be in somebody's choir. You knew you were going to have to close out the service or do devotion, something in that capacity. So music has always been in me.
That was about what it was for me too.
Yeah. You were on the bell choir, you were on what else? You were on the usher board, you were
Bored. Yep.
on Bible study, like you did it all. And so,
Yep.
it becomes routine, but I was sneaking and listening to certain records. I remember do you remember when my back came on when it first hit?
Micaiah.
When it first
Yeah.
hit and it was like
Yeah.
you had the two versions. So I had to
Yeah. You
sneak
remember
to
the
hear the
clean
other.
version. Everybody remember the nasty version.
Before we could even get to lick, Bertha was cutting off that radio. She was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. When Slave for You by Britney Spears would come on the radio, my daddy would turn that off. He'd be like, that's so inappropriate. And when I listen to it now, I'm like, yeah, that was a little inappropriate. But whatever. Everybody else was doing it. So
Because we remember that was the pop craze. You know, pop craze,
listen,
like,
that was an era. We
that was
will
the era
never
that we
get it
didn't go.
again.
And we're going to get into that. We're going to get that momentarily while we're getting into the music. Now, we know since you're an independent artist,
Hmm.
and I know your music is about to come out at midnight. Take me on to like a journey of when you first got your first deal, or when you started your first deal, like your first project. What was in the corner of your mind, and what you were saying when the first project you did came out?
Well, let me see. This was 2008, 2009. There was a label in my hometown that I was working with. I was the first R&B singer on that label. And I was excited going into it, but in the middle of the process, I kind of got discouraged a little bit because it was like I was going through some things. I was fresh out of a relationship. I was engaged at the time, like, and that whole thing fell apart. Like I got left for my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a whole thing.
Mm.
And so I was like, I want to sing about that. And they were like, no, like we want you to we want you to sing about going to the club and, making love and all of this other stuff. And at the time, I'm gonna put myself out there on Front Street. At the time, I could count on one hand the number of people that I was sleeping with. So you wanted me to sing about a whole other life that I wasn't living, and so that was a power struggle there, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. I got out of that deal. One of the stipulations was I couldn't put out music for a year. So I worked on a mixtape. And so, I was putting out mixtapes after that. But then shortly thereafter, I met Jay, who's my current producer, Jay Bonkers. Met him on Craigslist. And I was like, I need somebody whose sounds like this. Like, can you give me that? And he sent me a
Mm-hmm.
track he did for somebody else. And I've been rocking with the man ever since. And he supports all of my crazy, outlandish ideas.
Jay Bones, we're gonna shout you out because I'm a
Yes.
big fan of his work.
Listen,
Now,
that
now,
man lets me go in the
yes,
studio and do me, and he does not try to interfere with my creative process.
yeah, because I will tell y'all, he knows this from right down here knows my favorite projects from him were Rehab.
He didn't do those though. That's the thing.
No, no,
Like
I'm
I
saying
met
not Jay
him.
Bones. I'm saying, but for you, like projects you've done. That's what I should
Hmm.
have said. But the projects you've done, I remember like the mixtape EPs. You did Rehab, and then you did Colors. Those were like the two favorites. He knows my songs on there.
Thank you.
Even some of the unreleased stuff that he has that a lot of y'all haven't heard, unless you go on his YouTube channel.
Listen, there was a whole like if I wish people could really see the blueprints for these projects because what they
Hmm.
get in the end is not what they get in the very beginning. If we're going to
Hmm.
talk about Rehab, you had a situation where I had signed paperwork with this whole other situation, and then midway through the project, dude is like, "My baby mama don't want me to do music no more, so I'm not. We're not gonna finish your project." So you're just out there and you're just without a project. And so that's why now when it comes down to working in studios and working with different artists and producers and stuff, I always ask the question like, "Do you have kids? Do you have a baby mama? Do you have a wife?" Because I don't want to come in between that, and I don't want them coming in between what we working on.
Hmm.
So that's just been some of my experience. But yeah, I wish the people really could see because that Rehab project, I think it's 9 tracks on it, but it was supposed to be 19.
Hmm.
So like
I remember.
yeah, like that project was supposed to be a
And that's
whole
how long
thing.
he and I have known each other since Rehab, before Rehab even came out.
We've known each other a while. That's why I'm
Right.
like,
We're not gonna say how long because we ain't trying to put no age on us.
it's been a long time.
It's been a long
Whitney
time.
Houston was still living when I met you.
Yes. Yes, that's true what he's
But
saying.
I've known Devin longer than that though. Like that's the part.
You know, so funny. I've known Devin way before you and I were even friends, which was like a. That's why I think he saw the comments. He said, "What?" I don't think he knew we knew each other.
I've known Devin a really long like Devin probably we talk about, the story of me going to SC State, that whole thing. Like Devin
Oh,
was around
nice.
during that era. So I've known
Okay,
Devin a long time. So
nice.
yeah.
Okay, my best friend Christy Kiss 395 says D. I love out this authenticity and rawness of your music. You remind me of a male Mary J. Blige and early Keisha Cole. I'm a fan for the first time.
Oh
It helped
wow.
me get over some stuff. I love it.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment. And I will tell you what's funny when we were or when I was signed to that first label, they kind of wanted my music to because I was like, I sing about love and
Hmm.
relationships and real life stuff. And I was just like, if I had to be anybody or embody my career after anybody, Keisha was technically
Hmm.
still a new artist at the time.
Hmm.
And I was like, I want to go in that vein, the vein of being the male Keisha, the male Mary, if I had to body
Oh yeah,
myself
too.
out of anybody. And so it's funny that that's a compliment. So thank you.
No, because I remember when we became friends, everybody wanted him to be like the male Keisha Cole, like the like male version of like Mary J. Blige meets Keisha Cole, and then that's when we started knowing who K Michelle was before everybody knew who K Michelle is now.
Mhm. Yep, that's how we started.
Yep. And now, when it came to like when you got the rehab and then you got the colors,
Hmm.
take us back to like that. For those who don't, who you guys are gonna get knowing more with colors. What was the whole mindset of colors? And then you know the other like EPs you've done, like mixtape EPs that you released currently,
Colors
like
was
a
a
few
beautiful
years ago.
time.
What was like from that to go into those state of minds of when you're writing? How did that really make you feel? Because I know you're dealing with different emotions and subject matters and all.
So Colors was a beautiful time. I don't fall in love easily. And so if I decide to fall in love with you or
Hmm.
be intimate with you in any capacity or anything of that sort, if I decide to, like, that's really significant. And so around the time that I was creating Colors, I was coming out of a relationship. So about the time that I was coming out of that relationship, I was maybe halfway through. And then I met somebody that I fell in love with, who is actually somewhat the catalyst for this new project that's about to come out. But
Hmm.
we'll get to that. So you kind of get Colors, you kind of get a multitude of emotions. You don't just get heartbreak, you get sentimental, you get love, you get, like I said, I don't do a whole lot of love songs, so you get that on Colors. You get the party side, you get
Hmm.
the, oh yeah, I don't know, do I want to give up my singleness for this relationship, or should I just stay over here? Like, I don't know. Like, you kind of get that range of emotions. And then we transition into what this record is, A Soul Without a Heart.
Now,
So
let's get to that right there.
yes, let's
Now,
get to
because I know
that.
this is the time everybody's waiting for it, and we'll have a
Yes,
lot of questions. We can talk about this album right
we can
now.
talk about it.
Now, let everybody know how many songs it's going to be. Well, everybody know the title
Well,
and how many songs.
there's 17 records on this album, two interludes, 15 full songs. The album clocks in at a solid hour. Um, that was not intentional. Okay. I will also say that the prelude and the prologue mixtape are collections of songs that were at some point or another intended for this album, in conjunction with a couple of other songs that I've just kind of thrown out there just to kind of test and see what the people thought.
Hmm.
Um, I also want to say that this album, like I said earlier, I wish people could see the blueprint. What you get in the beginning is not what you get at the end. What this project was supposed to be, if you've heard the Colors record, Colors was really poppy, it was really bright, it had
Hmm.
more light moments than anything. And so we were kind of supposed to transition into that for the follow-up record. The follow-up record was going to be 10 tracks. It was going to be one ballad, nine up tempos, and that was that. And it was supposed
Hmm.
to be like this. I had this electronic pop sound for it. Like, it was this real eclectic sounding body of work. And then the person that I had fallen in love with at the time, we hit a rough patch, and that it was a rough patch that was what's the word, unrepairable. But I didn't find that out until years later. But
Hmm.
yeah, so everything that occurred in that situation became a song. And in the beginning stages of creating this album, it was a lot of, you're a man, you can't say this, or you're a man, you can't feel like this, you're a man, you shouldn't feel like this, or you shouldn't say this, or why are you the individual singing this song? You should just stick to being a writer, because nobody, just being black and white and very raw, somebody literally came out their mouth and was like, nobody wants to hear about a nigga sing about his problems. And I was like, I had gotten to a point where I was like, I've heard this the entire trajectory of being an artist. Like,
Hmm.
at what point do I get to authentically be me? At what point do I get to sing about my reality without having somebody trying to warp it in order to make it digestible for the general public? And so at that point, I was just like, I'm not watering myself down anymore. I'm not going to make myself or dumb it down just to make it okay for public consumption. No, because that makes my art inauthentic at that point. At that point, I become fake. And I don't ever want to fake it. So whatever is going on in this situationship, whatever I'm feeling internally, whatever is going on, if it's too dark, write about it. If it's too sensitive, as they say, write about it. Whatever it is, make it a song. Make it a
Hmm.
song. Somebody can relate to it. And so that's kind of how this album came to be. It was more or less me doing what I wanted to do and being less focused on what I thought everybody else wanted to hear. It was more or less, do you like it? Does it feel good to you? Does it feel honest to you? If it feels honest, put it out. And that's why you got records like the Fuck Nigga song. My mother absolutely hates that song. She has yet to listen to it in full. But when you're dealing with, when that's what you're dealing with, let's sing about it. Let's sing about it. And of course, it has a double entendre, of course, but let's sing about it.
Yeah, you did have that. Now, from the top, now we know, like you said, it was 15 songs and two. And you said two interludes, right?
15 full songs and two interludes, and it clocks
O-
in at an hour.
Okay. How many songs in total did you really record? Even though they didn't make the track listing of the album, how many
hmm
songs would you say you recorded? So that way
I
everybody
want to
gets to know.
say we recorded at least 60 records for this project. But as far as records that were written, we have over 100 records that were written for this project.
Okay.
Yeah. And I literally with this project, I really took my time. There would be some studio sessions where I would literally, before I would even go in the studio, I'd literally sit in the car for 20 minutes and just cry. Cause I'm just like, I don't feel like singing today, or I'm that emotional over this situation, and now I gotta go in and sing about it. So yeah, that part is part of the reason why it took so long for the people to get the record, but it
Hmm.
also is a contributing factor as to why the record almost didn't come out. Because I was just like, I don't want people to think it's too sad, or I don't want people to think of it like this. And then I had to remember my why. Why did you do the record? What was your reasoning? And so when I remembered the why, it was like, all right, we're ready now.
Okay. Now we're gonna get into this part right here. Now, since we know the project is coming out at midnight on January 23rd, the songs that you have left out that didn't make the track listen, have you thought about, or do you already have like an idea of what will be the next project, or are you just trying to focus mostly on this project at the moment by getting it out there?
So I'm going to drop a hint and just say that the next project, whenever y'all get it, whatever it is, it sounds nothing like this. I will give you that hint.
Okay.
And so with these songs that y'all did not get, y'all will probably get, I don't know if it'll be an extended EP, or I don't know if it'll be another mixtape. I don't know. But I will say you guys will hear those songs. It's funny because I was listening to one of those unreleased tracks last night, and I was like, man, I wish I had included this in the final track list. But y'all will hear it eventually. Y'all will hear it eventually. If not at
Hmm.
one of my live shows, y'all will definitely hear it on record sooner than later.
And I'm gonna get into that soon after we
Yes,
talk about the album coming out.
yes.
Now, with this album, now we all know the first single. Everybody know what the first single off the album is. That's
We
out
had
right
a
now.
few, but yes, they know voicemail.
No, we all know Voicemail. We know Do It.
hmm
And we know some of the other songs, Masturbation, and some other songs. We're going to get into that in a bit.
So masturbation was never an actual single, right?
Nope.
Masturbation, we had the premiere of On the Way Up Atlanta, and I was like,
Exactly.
and at the time, the conversation was the album was going to come out on the reunion. That
Union.
was
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, I remember we
right.
had
That was
talked
the
about that.
conversation at the time. We were going to put the album out at the reunion, and it just did not financially. It just didn't pan out that way.
Okay. Now, let everybody know the current song that's out right now.
So my current single is a record called "If You Want to Go," and for it was intended to be the sequel to Voicemail, but I would say it's more of it could be looked at as that way, but it's about a totally separate situation. I think it's more or less from the lens of how you could have handled, if I had handled the subject of voicemail with tact,
Hmm.
what would it have been?
Okay.
Ooh, not called she said gifted goodbye. Yes. So
Yeah,
actually those are some of my favorites.
that's actually that's the other bit because everybody don't know Mr. DJ is one of my best friends. So
Hey y'all.
this is nothing for us. So this is just like for you guys. We did this for you guys. But the other best friend who you see in the comment, he was telling me about this. We were talking about this the other day. before because he knew I was going to interview you. So he said, I got to let him know this. I said, go ahead, let him know.
No, thank you. So what's funny is it's I wouldn't even call it a trilogy,
Hmm.
but you have this yeah, I guess you could call it a trilogy. It's Cold Sheets, Black Lights, and then
I like
Masturbation.
that one,
That
Black Lights. Yeah.
yes, that all fit in that same freak basket, if you will. They all go together. So it's funny that you mentioned that you like Cold Sheets. And Gift of Goodbye is very much so an in-depth story of what I was dealing with at the time.
Hmm.
You
That was
know,
yeah. Because now that we know that your album's called A Soul, we said A Soul Without a Heart, right?
A soul without a heart.
Okay. Now I know you have a title track.
hmm
What is the direction and the flow of that song?
So the title is a double entendre. So the title represents a few different things. And when we were creating, or when I was coming up with the title, one of the titles that was out there was "Pain Behind a Smile." Another title was something to the degree of "The People I Used to Know." It was something like that. It wasn't a rip off of K Michelle, but it was something in that
You,
vein. Right, because I knew the people were gonna be like, "Yeah, you tried to bite." No, I didn't try to bite off of anybody. So it was. I can't even remember what it was. It was something in that vein, and where we were going with the title, I wanted the title to be, I wanted it to encompass the people that I had previously entertained, because that's what the subject matter was. It was
hmm
about these different situations all under one umbrella of this one big situation. And so, my question was, how can I say this and embody everything? And so, A Soul Without a Heart is talking about those individuals. They
hmm
are heartless individuals who
hmm
had no real intentions for me, so to speak.
hmm
But it also represents the time period in which I was in. If you've ever been with somebody, I know you guys have seen more recently, like the reels on social media that are like, I dreamed of, or this person that I was with promised me a white dress. And then 3 to 5 years later, you see them in this mental ward and it's like, you're in this
hmm
white robe, and so that's kind of what it was. It was like you're with this person and this person is promising you the world, but at the end of it, you're raising, you're drained, you have nothing else to
hmm
give this person. Your life, your emotions, all of it is just in the overdraft. This is where you are at the present moment. And so that's kind of where we went. Even when we were shooting the cover, it was like, this is a snapshot into a moment in time. We are brisking through this moment,
hmm
but so that's kind of, it all ties in.
Because the first thing I thought about when I heard the title, I'm thinking, because the first thing I thought about, and I just didn't really say you were biting off a K Michelle, because I think a lot of people in their minds probably thought that, but I just thought it was a tribute. Like when she
hmm
had her album, Anybody Want to Buy a Heart. So that's the first thing I thought about. I thought it was just like a tribute to her, like kind of like a homage to her, but at the same time, you
No,
doing it your own perspective as you, as DJ.
no, I love Kimberly Down, but I will tell you the
Yeah.
create. And even though, the year I started working on this album, that album came out, but
Uh-huh. It
that is
did, yeah.
not
That's not what
that
it
that
is.
is not the subject matter. So I think that's rather comical.
It is. It's just funny because I thought of it, but I never really told you that.
No, I
But
figured that's what the people were thinking. I was like, no, this is not a
it's
ripoff
not
of
that.
K Michelle. She
No.
had no, she has not. She's heard a couple of records off the project, but she did not influence the title
Mm-mm.
whatsoever.
Now, let everybody know any collaborations on the album that you want to talk
Yes,
about.
I have two collabs on this album. There's a rapper. His name is Kareem. He is, I wouldn't even call him my label mate because I'm not necessarily signed, so to speak. But he is affiliated with Genius Club, not Genius Club, Born Genius Records. He is Jay Bonka's artist, and so Jay was playing me some of his stuff, and I was like, I think he would be dope for the No Projects record. And he was like, let's figure that out. And so he did the record. I heard it. We did not make any changes. What you hear is
Is
literally
what
we
it
ran
is.
in the studio, did it, and that was it. I also have this record called "Thinking with My Head," which is another double entendre on the album. But it features Grooveman Jones. I found him on Instagram. he was rapping at this open mic, and his flow is what drew me in. People don't know this, but I love rap, I love hip hop, and
Mm-hmm.
I love real lyrics, I love real lyricists, and I love real musicianship. And listening to some of his stuff, he kind of embodied all of that. And I told him when we did the record, I wanted him to tell a story. And so we got in, he came, knocked out his verse, and we were in there. But I didn't want a record full of features.
Okay. No, that's respectable because you still trying to get yourself out there as an artist.
Definitely.
Now, since we know about the first single and everything, is there a video coming out soon for that? Or are
So
we
we have been planning the video for quite some time now. It's not been that long. It's been a couple months. I wanted to make sure that people had an opportunity to sit with the music before I started doing
Hey
visuals.
Lala?
I
Mm-hmm.
wanted people to have an opportunity to sit with the music before we do visuals and actually let the people decide what they want visuals for. Initially, like I said, we were going to do visuals for If You Want to Go as well as Do It. However, I kind of want to let the people decide. This is an album for the people, for the real
Mm-hmm.
people. And so I wanted those people to help me in my decision making, not just what songs I sing and what we do for visuals, but just everything else. Like I wanted the public input for this body of work.
Okay. Now, as far as because we know you have a lot, like you mentioned the inspirations of different artists that you looked up to
Hmm.
when recording this project. Who were the artists were you listening to, or maybe you had ideas and inspiration and said, "Let me put this on my project, like a little inspiration, but make it my own." But at the same time, paying like a homage and like a giving them like the respect and
Hmm.
flowers.
So in the beginning of making this record, I would say this was more of a vocal driven record. I wanted to have songs more like My Ex Has My Heart, because that was a song that
That was
people
one of
really
my favorites
gravitated.
that she knows.
Yeah, like everybody kind of gravitated to that from the Colors record. And so the intent was to make more songs in that vein, which is why you had Tired of Heartbreak or Deeper Than Me from the Prelude mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I really started to get into the sounds and the way things kind of made me feel, and how could I, mesh my vocals with these sounds to make it sound like this, or how can I soften it up over here to make it a vibe more so it needs to be a, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want every song to be that. And so I listened to a lot of lo-fi. I listened to Aaliyah's what the people call the Red album.
That self-titled
Um,
album.
yes, I listened to that day and night. I listened to Janet Jackson. I listened to Avril Lavigne. I even got into my alternative bag and kind of started going in that direction. Just to kind of get a feel and play with different sounds and different things, just to kind of see how I could best illustrate my story. And so that's really the direction that we went in. When it came down to it, I knew what I liked. If I heard it and I liked
Mm-hmm.
it, I was like, we're gonna run with that. I don't care if
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't sound cohesive,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it creates a vibe and creates an atmosphere for whoever's listening to it. I'm cool with it.
What's been okay now since we're in on the album and everything, and
Hmm.
we're gonna get back into the album in a moment. But I know, like you said, because I know he's done covers before he even did like the mixtape EPs. He'll do like covers of other artists' songs.
Hmm.
Now I know you've done something. I know you've done a lot of Mary J. Blige, Avant,
Hmm.
Brandy, Mariah Carey, Maxwell. Like artists like Usher, a couple of artists like that. Who like Sparkle also? Who's
Yes,
been
we love Sparkle.
Sparkle? Who's been the surprise celebrities that really shocked you? That really heard your cover and actually heard you singing it, even when you would do your live performances. Like when you're out. Who
Hmm.
and I know you put a lot of stuff out there on your YouTube channel too. Who's been the people that really shocked you the most when you say, "Dang, they really like how I sing"?
You know what? I will tell you more recently. And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, that's so cliche. That's such a cliche answer." But seriously, because the people don't know, like, there was a period where I was done with music. Like, I was done singing. Like, I wanted nothing to do with it. And I would say when Kelly Price picked me to be her background singer, I think more recently that's been the thing that's been like you know who I am. But in
Hmm.
the past, I would say Kenny Lattimore,
Okay.
Bobby Caldwell, Sunshine Anderson are just a few people that I can think of off the top of my head. I remember there was a video I did on YouTube of Caught Up in the Rapture. I don't even know if I still have the screenshot, but Anita Baker gave me her stamp of approval doing Caught Up in the Rapture. And I was like, oh my God, it's Anita Baker. So yeah, like those moments are moments that are just like, huh, you can sing. And they told you so. So yeah, those are those moments. Just a few.
Hmm. Now take me to Kelly Price. When since you sang background for her,
Hmm.
what was that experience, or is it still currently going on, or is it just like a hiatus for right now?
So I'm still her background singer. We'll start there. That process, to some extent, and I can't compare because I wasn't there, but what we saw on TV of making the band, it was almost like that
Oh, you
because
mean
it
like
was
the R&B
like,
divas type of thing?
I
Yeah.
wouldn't even say that because, so here's the thing, right? So I wanna start here. The people give, I'm gonna say this out of respect. The people give Miss Price a hard time, but they don't know the person,
Hmm.
right? One of the most supportive and giving people in that business that I have come across that has had a countless success.
Hmm.
You know, you meet certain people. They say don't meet your heroes
Hmm.
because you'll be disappointed.
Pointed, yes.
From day one, like she's remained the same person.
Hmm.
She has held on to her word. She has been supportive, loving, respectful. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? All the things.
And,
So
and can we also mention Grammy winner too?
hello, like let's give her her stuff. And so when the people, give her a hard time, please, please. But that process, we started singing, what was it? It was the first, we auditioned singing the national anthem. That's how
Hmm.
we got inducted. When I was auditioning, I literally stayed up all night the night before. I don't even know what I was doing. I think I might have been at the club. I don't know. But went to the gym and I was not going to audition because in my mind I was like, she's already picked her background singer. What she need me for? And last minute I called my vocal coach. I was like, look, Kelly Price is auditioning background singers. Let's just go ahead and do it, and we can say we did it, and then I can sleep at night. Versus me never doing it and never knowing what it was going to be. And we did, I think, 8 takes of the national anthem. When I tell you dog shit tired, but we did 8 takes of the national anthem, and then I was like, all right, this is the best take. We finna submit it. Here it goes.
Okay.
Went home, took a nap, woke up, and saw that I had been picked, and I was like, okay, so it's a series of different competitions. We had to learn The Rain from the Kelly album, which is an amazing song. If y'all have not heard it, go play it.
Oh
We had to
yeah, I
learn,
know that song. Yeah, 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 yeah.
oh my God, I can't even listen to it now without crying. Um, we had to learn The Rain from the Kelly album. We had to learn For the Love of the People by the Clark
Hmm.
sisters. We broke off into different groups of four. And so
Hmm.
everybody had to learn their own individual parts and we had to sing it for and sing it
Hmm.
for the team. And so, people were getting eliminated left and right and we didn't know.
Wow.
And we didn't know. And so when it came down to us having to do one-on-one interviews, I remember she called me and it was like 1, almost 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
And she was
she was
like,
really getting you like making the band like how Diddy
yeah,
done did
like
them.
it's she was like, I'm only gonna call you one time. If you do not answer the phone, just pack it up. And we were like, okay, mind you, I'm just now finishing exams. I'm like, bruh, I'm mentally spent. I'm about to go get in the shower and get into bed. My phone rings, and I mean, by the grace of God, I turned around and heard it because I was like, "Oh, who is? Hello." And she's like, "Hi, DJ." I'm like, "Hello, who is this?" And she's like, "This is Miss Price." And I'm like, "Oh."
Oh
So I'm
wow.
freaking out. I'm like, "Okay, it's like almost 2 in the morning." And she's just like, "Did I wake you up?" I said, "No, like I'm actually bright-eyed and bushy tail. You're perfectly fine." She's like, "Are you on the West Coast?" And I said, "No, babe, I'm in Atlanta." And she's like, "What time is it over there?" I'm like, "It's almost 2." And she's like, "Didn't mean to wake you up." It's like, "Please, you're fine. I ain't got you got no spouse, no kids, no pets. Like, call me anytime. Call me anytime." And so we had this one-on-one interview, and she's like, "What's your favorite?" Like the interview started, she's like, "What's your favorite song by me?" And I was like, "I Still Do." Today, it's "I Still Do." But I was like, yesterday, it was "God's Gift" with Jeff Majors. But tomorrow,
Okay.
but tomorrow it may be "Girlfriend." It may be um
I like that song. That's a good song.
you know what I'm saying? Like it may tomorrow, maybe you don't have to worry. It may be "Never Been Scared." Like you just don't know. And she's like, "Wait a minute. So like, why do you like "I Still Do"? Like out of all of the songs, I'm like, girl, like so like we do this one-on-one interview, and she comes back, to the group to report, and
Uh-huh.
she's just like, "This is who y'all need to watch out for. Like he knows who he's singing for. He knows the whole catalog.
Hmm.
Like." And so it went radio silent. We went to
Hmm.
Birmingham to go see her. That's when it was announced that Arlisha was going to be one of the background singers. And so I was still
Okay.
sitting in limbo, like, okay, well, what's happening? And so we went home. It went radio silent for almost 2 months. And then I want to say the week before Christmas or week before Thanksgiving. I can't remember. I have the date in my phone. I was at Kroger. I
Okay.
was at Kroger looking all homely and just laid back in the cut, had my little situation on my head. I think I had on a robe. Like I really was like chilling. Was at Kroger in the checkout line, and my phone rings and somebody's screaming in the phone and like, "Oh my God, congrats." And I'm like, "What are you congratulating me for?" And they're just like, "Oh my God, like Kelly picked you." And I'm like, "How do you know that?" And they're just like, "Cause she just announced it." And I'm like, "Where?" And they're like, "On Instagram. Let me call you back." So I go on Instagram. I'm like, "She ain't announced shit." You know how we do.
Hmm.
And I log on to Instagram, and I'm like, "Let me call and quit my job tomorrow." But I had a friend who used to sing backgrounds with her, and he was like, "No, like, do not quit your job. Like, until she gives you the green light to quit your job, don't you quit your job." And I'm glad I did not quit my job. Not for any negative reason, but I'm glad I didn't quit my job because, like I said, you really get into when you really start to get into the mud of it. If we're just gonna call it what it is, the mud, the real work of it, it's
Hmm.
work. And so, some months are better than others, and so you just want to be smart about the moves that you make. And I think that's one of the number one lessons that I've learned from being under her. Be smart about what you do.
Okay.
I know that was an elongated story, but I wanted to give
No,
you
but no,
details.
but it makes it easy. It makes it easy for us to get to know you and get to know the story. Because when
Yes,
you say your favorite twin, Kelly asked you what her, well, Miss Price asked you her favorite song from her. Because there's so many I like. Like it's my time.
yes.
He proposed. What other? It's
Don't
from
say
Mirror.
goodbye will always have a place.
Yeah. What's the what? At least I think it's at least the things. I think that's what it is on the Mirror project. I think it was shot number
Yep,
4.
yep. That one, her.
Her is
How
a
could
good
you be
one.
with her? Chrissy said the rain. Baby, listen, I'll be riding in the car and it'll be the last 30 seconds of the rain. And I always have to pull over because I always get a little misty. It's like listening to that, watching that episode, the finale of the Jamie Foxx show where him and Fanny get married, and
Yes.
he sings the wedding song. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you can't not listen to it and not cry. Like it's one of those. Like I can't ever listen to that song and not get emotional. So yeah.
Okay. Now with a Soul Without a Heart album coming out,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want people to get from it overall?
I want people to just go on a musical journey with me. What I have learned about music, you can have an intention for people to gain something from. your art, but it's left up to the people what they interpret. Your job is to live it and create it and release it. One, two, three, release them. Like once you release, once you've released it, like you have done your part. That's
Amen
all you
on
can
that.
do. You don't have any control. And I think once I accepted that I did not have any control over what people were going to say about the album, I could feel however I feel about it.
Hmm.
How do I feel about this album today? This is my baby. This is my favorite project that I've ever done. You know, but somebody else may listen to it and be like, eh. You have
Yeah.
somebody that may be like, I love it. You know, you may have somebody that's bold enough, like, they commented on my YouTube channel today and they were just like, song's cute, but what the fuck is this cover? And I said, blocked, like,
Yeah. I would say
thanks
fine.
for the play though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just, everybody's interpretation of it is different.
Different. Yes.
So I just want people to vibe with it. If you like it, share it with your people. Buy it. If you
We
don't
want them to
like it,
buy it. We want you to buy it, stream it,
we
support
want you to
it.
buy it and stream it. We trying to go up with this album.
That
So
way, when he do these live performances and you catch him near you, you know what's going on.
you know what's
Now,
going on. I got
n-
you.
yeah. Now, here's a question that's going to shock you.
Okay.
And I know we haven't talked about this one, but I'm going to bring it up.
Okay. Well,
Because
he
he's
said
not
I'm
just
gonna bring
found
it
out
up.
this little tea, but I'm gonna go into it with the question.
Okay.
Now that we know that your album, A Soul Without a Heart, is on January 23rd, which is tomorrow,
hmm
how do you feel with your album, Ari Lennox album, Vacancy, coming out the same day, and also our mutual friend Nico Love's project, 3 a.m., the album comes out. All three of those projects come out the same day. How does that make you feel?
You know what? What's funny about this is I reached out to Nico about doing some promotional stuff like for my album. I had no idea until today, matter of fact, that we were even dropping on the same day. When
Because
I
initially it was
picked
supposed to be last week, he was supposed to come out.
so well, here's the gag. The people don't know. I purposely never gave a release date. I
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to make sure that the album was actually coming out when I said it was.
Mm-hmm. Because I remember he
'Cause
called me and told me about it, y'all.
right, because it can be a little frustrating when it's like, all right, it's April 18th, and now it's June 23rd, and now we're at August 18th, and now we're going to December 25th. You know what I mean? Like, it can be really frustrating when you're dealing with an artist, and it can really affect the ears that are potentially ready to receive what you're giving on your project,
Mm-hmm.
when you continuously push a record back. So I wanted to make sure before I even announced a release date, I wanted to be 100% sure that the record was coming. The original intent was to have the record out on Black Friday, but
It didn't
some
work
things
out though.
happened. It just didn't pan out. So we were like, all right, cool. We'll just do the pre-order then, and we'll put the album out at the very end of the year. But then we were like, no, we need more time to promote it. So we were like, let's just do it the end of January. It'll be after MLK. It'll be after New Year's, after Christmas. People would have had a paycheck or two to recoup, and we put the record out.
True.
And so now it's coming out tomorrow, and that's how that worked. But to answer the question, how do I feel coming out the same day as Ari Lennox and Nico? You know what? Listen, if you look out and you see my record, get that too, cause it's Good Music Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Because
I'm
that's
so excited for Ari and
yeah.
so
Because I'm
excited for
excited for
Nico.
all three of you guys because with R&B, like R&B soul, I know you guys have your pop and you have your hip hop and your soul elements to it.
hmm
It's a good time to put
It's a
out
good
stuff.
time. It's a good time. People have been
Mm-hmm.
complaining about R&B, and it's funny you mentioned that because I had a conversation with someone. We were talking about marketing the album, and they were just like, "You got to have a gimmick. You got to have a gimmick." And I said, "I sing all my records. I write all my records. I
Mm-hmm.
can sing live. Like you put me on the spot to sing something, I'm gonna blow the people out the water. I can wake that ass up in the morning and put that ass to bed. That is my gimmick. How about that? That's all the gimmick you need." So it's funny that you brought that up. I was gonna throw that out there.
Mm-hmm. What are the songs that everybody should look out for that we have not talked about that's on A Soul Without a Heart?
I definitely think there's gonna be some mouth dropping moments. I think when you see titles like masturbation or sex with my best friend's ex, the interlude,
You know, I was about to ask you about that one.
yes, and I know that people are like, so I'm sure when you see titles like that, I'm sure it's like, what is this? Or even titles like Cigarette, Xanax, and Everclear.
You
You
know, I was about
know,
to ask about that one too.
yes. So we're gonna get into
I was
all
going
the
to ask you
things.
about that off camera, y'all. But since we talking
No,
about it,
no,
we
we
gonna
can talk
talk.
about it on camera. I'm gonna just tell you if the people who wanted to know my business, I tell you my business on this
Yes,
album.
Devin,
You have to listen
you
to
got
the
it right.
lyrical content because I really do in all forms, really and truly, it's right there in front of your face. Anything that you ever wanted to know about me is right there in front of your face if you can dissect it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want the people to know that. I tell you a lot.
He tells a lot on that one right
I
there.
do tell you a lot on this album, and I think that's part of why I was a little nervous because I didn't know how the people were going to respond. People are cool when it's surface. When you're singing about cute stuff, going out, getting drunk,
We're not condoning that, y'all, but we
we're
just
not
saying.
condoning that, it happens, but Buffalo Zum Zum, like people will support that. But
Yes.
when we do a deep dive and we have real conversations, such as thinking with my head, perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Me thinking with my dick and not my common sense cost me a relationship. But for somebody else, thinking with their parts has caused them to end up with a baby that they didn't want or a baby that they didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking with their parts has caused them to acquire an STD that they can't get rid of, or acquire an STD that they can get rid of. But now you have to take time off of your job to go to the clinic to get a shot. You know what I'm saying? You thinking with your parts has cost you a fiance. It's cost you your livelihood. It's cost you access to whoever. You know what I mean? So you just have to be when I say certain things like that, it's
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, are you ready for that conversation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for DJ that we
I'm an
haven't
open
talked
book.
about or have
Look,
any
we
questions?
telling it all now.
We're gonna tell it all.
We telling it all now. So yes,
Because I know if you guys have any questions for DJ, feel free to ask them questions.
yes.
But be respectful about the questions.
Please, I probably answered the disrespectful ones too.
He probably already answered some of the stuff by talking about it.
I probably answered some of the disrespectful ones too. I would even say, because you were gonna ask me about the Cigarette Xanax and Everclear song.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. You could go into that while we're waiting for those questions.
that record is a very vulnerable record. Like I said, I reveal a lot. And I will tell anybody that losing a parent is not an easy thing. Um, you're just gonna and when it happens, if you're alive to experience it, I would just say just keep living one day at a time, because you can be fine 1 minute and it be spiraling out of control the next minute.
Hmm.
And when I wrote that record, that was a record where I really was not trying to be here. I was not trying to be here. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Um, and so I was looking at every reason for why I should not. And at the end of the song, it kind of leaves you with a little cliffhanger. So we'll just see where we go into the next record.
Hmm.
Hint.
Do you think it's gonna be a hard time for you? Is it gonna? You think it may be hard for you to sing it like if you had to sing it live,
No.
like for your own show? Okay.
Mm-mm. There was a time where forever was hard.
Okay.
Like I said, when I was breaking down or just talking about the track on Instagram, I've only sang it twice. I sang it in the studio and I sang it live
Hmm.
once. And both times were extremely difficult for me to sing. Do I think it would be difficult for me to sing it now? I don't I don't
Or is it
know.
just like you have to
I
see?
should be okay.
Okay.
But fingers crossed. Now everything else on the record, no, I think I'll be okay. We were in the studio. Here's a funny story. End of My Rope is another very intimate record.
Hmm.
I haven't had an opportunity to do the breakdown of that one yet, but End of My Rope, we were in the studio mixing that record, and my studio engineer Jay had a couple people come over listening to the record. And as we're playing it, I'm sitting in the corner just boohoo crying, like just out of nowhere. Like I just start crying.
Hmm.
And everybody listen, they're like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, I'm just, I'm just going through a little something." And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, is it possible for you to still have feelings for a person that has been deceased
Hey,
and they
Banker
have
Lee.
gone on to glory, and you still over here crying over that person? Like, is this what closure feels like? Is this what healing feels like? And so, yeah, like that was another one that I was concerned if I'd be okay to sing it live, but I think we'll be all right.
Okay. Now, Devin said, "I'm proud of you, D. Excited to hear the album."
Thank you, bro. I did the best I could.
My bestie says, Chrissy Kiss says, 395 says, "If you could sing or duet with 5 artists, who would they be?"
Ooh,
Good
okay. With
question.
five,
Good
with
question.
five artists, who would they be? Whitney Houston, number one. Mariah Carey, number two. Number three would be, I'm gonna say Parliament Funkadelic. Cause listen, them niggas get down, okay?
Yeah,
You
there's
give
nothing
them a
wrong with
little
that.
something, might
Yeah,
go
you
take
just
your
speaking
little
your
sip of
truth.
something.
You're speaking your truth. It's all good. Come on,
Yes,
got three
like
right
let me
there.
have the remix of we can do the remix of Mothership Connection. We can jam all night. Listen,
Hey, nothing wrong with that. You got two more.
we can jam all night.
Hey,
Let me think. Okay, that's a hard question because I'm thinking about everybody. Um, ooh, I'm going to say Elton John,
okay.
and
Elton John had them songs, because especially "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" and "Benny and the Jets." Oh,
yeah,
don't get me started.
yeah, Benny and the Jets has always been my favorite.
Mine too.
Always been my favorite. Um, I'm going to go and say I'm gonna say B Slade, right?
Okay,
Or Tone.
he's been on my show already.
Yes, I love that man, and I love his vocal capability. I think he can do anything. Um, but here's the problem with me doing a duet with that man. At
Hmm.
some point, I would just stop singing because I would be so enamored with the gift that I would just be like, "Now you ain't have to do all that. You ain't have to do all that."
Hey, B Slade is like that. He gonna slay.
Honorable mention Terrell Carter, but we kind of already
Oh
did
yeah,
have our
Terrell
duet.
Carter. Yeah, no,
Hmm.
no, no, that's cool. I like Terrell Carter. He's
Yeah,
cool.
no,
He's very nice.
but see, the thing is, I would want an official duet. Like we kind of had a duet moment, but it doesn't really count. Like he
Yeah,
was
you
leaving a
wanted like
hotel, and I
studio.
was,
You
yeah,
wanted
like
to
he
go
was leaving the
studio.
hotel. I was coming in. We were doing riffs and runs in the lobby, but like that doesn't really count. So it would have to count as an
Yeah.
official
Hey,
duet. But
Ma.
there's so many people, but those would be my top five.
Yeah. Now, Devin asked you a question. She said documentary behind the scenes for the writing slash recording process.
So I did a vlog called Journey to My Life. It
Uh-huh.
is 8 episodes on YouTube, and you kind of get to see me do. Hey, Ahmad. You kind of get to see me do, or you kind of get to see the behind the scenes process a little bit. You don't get to see everything, but you do get to see me recording some of these records in the studio, me preparing for my live show, me working out with my trainer at the time. I'm just trying to think. It was pretty much a day in the life at the time. I really wanted to do a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
um, but we just didn't. It was a rough time, so a lot of that stuff I didn't document, but
Mm-hmm.
and I part of me wishes I had, but for the next one I definitely will make sure to have that camera out at all times for sure.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have any questions for DJ?
Hey y'all, I'm an open book but not a clean slate. I'm willing to look, the one time I'm willing to tell all my business, they didn't want to
For
ask. No, I'm
once.
kidding.
This is for once, you guys, because let that be, if
Oh,
it was he and I, we'd be like, what now, what now?
I will tell you this though. You did ask me what were some tracks that they should look out for. I will tell
Mm-hmm.
you this much. Rather Be Single
Mm-hmm.
is one song that I have to play every single time I get in the car. It's
Okay.
something about it. I don't know what it is about it, but it's something about the way it feels. It feels like it feels like field day. It feels like a homecoming pep rally. You know what I mean? Like it's a brisk, warm, in the summer day, and you're on the baseball field up in the bleachers, and you're singing the song, but later on that night you end up at somebody's kickback, and you see that ex that's been trying to circle the block, and it's like, nah, babe, I don't circle the block, but well wishes. Like it's
Yeah.
one of those.
What five songwriters would you like to collaborate with?
Ooh,
That's
what
a
five
good one.
songwriters would I like to collaborate with? Okay, so Brian Michael Cox would probably produce and co-write. So we'll start there. Um, I'm gonna say Diane Warren.
So she's put out some great songs.
Oh my God, she's done some amazing material. I would say Linda Perry. I
Yes, I
would,
love Linda Perry.
yes, love Linda Perry. I would say, ooh, I'm gonna say R. Kelly.
Okay.
I'm gonna say R. Kelly, and I'm gonna say there's so many people. I'm gonna say Mariah for this too, because Mariah is
Okay.
an amazing songwriter
And producer too.
and
Well, hey,
producer. Yeah, honorable mention Money Long, but yeah,
Money Long, yeah, of course. Nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
Now that question that Chrissy asked, you made me, and I just should have asked this question before, but it's gonna coincide with everything that everybody's talking about.
Okay,
Has Kelly Price heard any of the songs you've done? And if so, has she ever talked about maybe she want to jump on a remix of a song, or maybe jump on the same track that maybe that's coming up on the album, and she feel like, oh, I could put my stamp on it if I put my vocals with yours?
so I'm gonna be honest with you.
Tell the truth.
There is no remix as of yet, right? So I'm gonna say that. If the opportunity to do a remix came about, hell yeah, let's do it. Now has she heard any of my music? I'm sure she has. Um, have we had a conversation about it? No. But I'm sure she has probably heard a couple of my songs. I'm about 98% sure.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
about 98% sure she has.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for DJ before we wrap it up?
Come on, wrap it up.
Because we know you got some important things you want to get out there too with your album and
Listen,
promotions.
we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good
We
time this time
are.
around. I've been
This was
waiting
what
to
I
give
was
this album
hoping.
to
This is what
y'all.
I was hoping was going to happen this great
Hmm.
time, because I was saying, please let this go well. Please let this go well.
No, listen, I was going to make sure that you all had a body of work that you all could groove to. I definitely was intentional about making the record the way that I made it. Um, but I'm really excited for the people to hear it. I'm really excited for the people to hear it. I'm really excited for people to get into the story and really just you'll hear the growth, not
Mm,
just lyrically and vocally, but just as a person. When I was creating this body of work, I was still very much so green, green and naive, and just green. I think that's the best way to sum it up. It's very green and did not have any boundaries, did not know how to say no, and now I'm a whole butthole. I'm just mean. No, I'm just kidding.
mm.
But I definitely have grown to a place where I know how to say no, set my boundaries, and there are certain things that I accepted then that I'll no longer accept now. There are certain
No,
things I was doing
hey,
then that I'll never do now.
ain't nothing wrong with that. This is going to be my Friday even guilty pleasure after work. That's what Chrissy said.
Yes, roll you up a little something and vibe out. Grab
Oh
some
my
friends. Y'all have a
gosh.
whole listening party.
He and I probably gonna have that listening party I think off with you
Listen,
after you and
clock
I
me
talk.
in. Clock me in. I'm here to give y'all the backstory because I know y'all want to know.
Oh my goodness. We probably have to do that another
DJ After Dark.
DJ, we'll do that after dark. But we're gonna do it on your platform. Now,
DJ After Dark.
DJ after hey, might be another title for another project.
Ugh.
I'm just saying,
Listen,
or maybe podcast. I'm just saying.
listen, and name each episode after a song. We'll have to see.
Oh my gosh, that would be a good idea.
Ahmad wants to know what
What
deceased
these what
artists
deceased
would you
artists would
love
you
to
love to
collaborate
collaborate
with?
with? Good question, Amon.
Ooh, okay.
Little
So I
bro, good
said
question.
there are a few. So of course I'm going to pick what they call the Holy Trinity. I'm
No,
gonna
no, no, no,
pick
no, no. Hold on, no. This is what we're gonna do. Say the Holy Trinity. You just name everybody that comes to mind.
okay, so Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince. Those are gonna be the three that are automatic. I have to. I have to. I would have loved to do something with Angie Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really wish that I had had the opportunity to do something or at least learn something from Luther.
Okay.
Um, Luther did a great job emoting through breath control. And when I was with my vocal coach, one thing that he used to always tell me is like, your breath can tell a story. Your breath can like all you have to do is breathe on a microphone, and you can get anybody to come up out their draws. You just have to know what to do. And he's like, that's the reason why people love singers like Luther and Whitney. It's like they could literally
Really
paint
get
you a
the
whole
emotion.
picture
Yes.
with their breath. They didn't have to do much, And so that was kind of my whole thing. And so yeah, it definitely would have been Luther. And I'm just going off the top of my head. Yeah, Aaliyah for sure.
Of
Whitney,
course.
Aaliyah, and Left Eye ain't got no
You
business.
know I was about to ask you were you gonna say Left Eye.
Listen, oh no, me and Left Eye. Listen, if Left Eye was still living, me and Left Eye would have been at the club. We would have been in the back. We would have been wrecking shop. Y'all would have been seeing us on the news. Y'all
I
would have
think
seen us
she
on
would
the
have loved it
news.
if I was with her. If I had interviewed her, I think she would
Oh
have been the same
yes,
way.
oh yes. Me and Lisa would have been thick as thieves, man. Yeah, it would have been a turn up every single night. We would have been in trouble. We would have made the blogs every night.
And honorable mention, you guys. Wait? Were you finished saying your
Yes.
list of people? Now,
Hmm.
honorable mention. We're gonna make sure you guys know this because he and I know this, but we didn't mention it. He has sung for a lot of people. He sung for Chili, Candy Burris,
Selena Johnson, Kiki
Selena Johnson,
Wyatt,
uh huh,
K Michelle,
K Michelle, of course.
Nivea, just to name a
Mm-hmm.
few people. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking off the top of my head. Jazzy Faye,
Uh huh.
Yummy Bingham. I've done
We
backgrounds for
love
Yummy.
Yummy.
Yes. James Wright Chanel.
Uh huh.
Um, God, list goes on and on. Do you remember? Well, you know her, Mila. Mila used to be on
Milo,
Making.
yeah.
She was on Making a Band 3.
Man, yeah.
I've done backgrounds for Mila before.
That's and her and Brian Michael Cox have a son together.
I was at the wedding. Great people, great people, great people. Amazing family.
Okay.
Yes, Left Eye and Aaliyah's influence is heavy in the
Heavy in the
music
music
industry
industry
today.
today.
That
Yes.
definitely was an influence for this body of work, from not just the imaging, but just even the sound. Some of the sounds were
Mm-hmm.
definitely influenced by.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have to show you some of the other images that we considered for this for the back cover, and that's part of the reason why. Okay, so spoiler alert: there is a totally separate back cover
Mm-hmm.
that went with this album that we ended up changing because it was too much like the one that is on the Red album.
The Leah album he talking about.
Hmm. Literally identical.
But if you guys see the cover, well, you guys see the cover. I'm sure. Hey, Kamario, if you guys see the cover, it gave me like to me. What I'm gonna let you know what it because I think I told you this, but it made me think of Lenny Kravitz, like Lenny Kravitz, but like the Five Project, like his album Five.
Unintentionally, it fell right into that category. I wasn't even thinking about Lenny Kravitz until I scrolled on Instagram one day and saw it and was like, I literally just Unintentionally, I was inspired by this man. Okay, cool.
But then,
I'll take it.
but then also it made me think about Christina Aguilera's stripped album cover.
Somebody told me stripped, and somebody also mentioned the Butterfly album by Mariah
Oh
Carey.
yeah, Mariah Carey.
They were
Yes,
like,
I
it
didn't think
reminds
about
him
that
a
Butterfly
lot.
album. Yeah.
hmm It was like it's the Butterfly album. Hey y'all down there at the
Okay.
bottom, and I was like, oh my gosh, Lenny does still have it. Lenny is the GOAT.
Yes. Okay. So, any other closing statements you want to make while we
You know
about to get
what?
off this thing?
I
Anything
just
you
want
want
to
to say?
thank everybody for their patience with me and my perfectionism because I'm just like when it comes to the music, but I really appreciate everybody and their support, um and just like I said, just supporting me this long, and it's only up from here. So this is just the start, and we are about to run this album in the ground. Be prepared to be sick of seeing me, because I'm definitely going to be on your timeline, not just with this album but with some other stuff that we got coming up.
And it will be on, and it'll be on. I'll be on your timeline when he promotes this interview when this comes out on YouTube. So make sure you share the YouTube link also. When I put the YouTube link out, I'm gonna send it to him so you guys can see it and send it to all of you, so that way you guys can keep up with him. Now let everybody know where they can find you on all social media platforms.
You guys can find me definitely here on Instagram, YouTube, where else? Facebook. Basically, just Google me. I'm out there. What's the song? If you need me, call me. No matter where you is, no matter how far, I will be right there. It's DJ the
Oh.
Singer, the Ghetto Superman.
Hey,
I've been
you guys,
telling everybody
he's
lately I'm
so
a
silly.
superhero.
He would quote "Ain't no mountain high."
What did Mama Joy say? Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't
No.
no valley low enough to keep me off your ass.
Yes, baby. And you guys keep up with me because you can find me on X. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube. I have everything down in the description box and DJ's information also. So that way you subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to his YouTube channel. Make sure you get A Soul Without a Heart, which will be out momentarily.
In less than 3 hours, I'm
Yep,
going
three
under my
hours. Three
counter.
hours at our time right now, but midnight Eastern Standard Time. So that way you guys will know. And then just so you guys will know. And then that way, when his album comes out, make sure you hit him up. And even let me know what you guys think about this interview with DiiJai. Were you guys feeling it? What are some of the stuff that you admired? If this may be your first time watching me, that way you get a feel of what I do as interviews and what he does as an artist. You guys can see his journey on his YouTube channel. You can see stuff I've done on my YouTube channel. And that's about it. But I want to thank you, DJ. Thank you
Thank you
for
for
coming on the
having
show,
me,
and he will be
Kay.
back. He will be back soon.
I will be back. This will not be the
So
only time that you will see me.
this is just the first go around.
I will definitely be back.
Uh-huh. And you guys are
Uh,
gonna see me more of your boys soon too on other stuff. So just be looking out.
Keep your eyes open. You can see me every Wednesday night on The Scene Atlanta on YouTube at 8 p.m. And like I said, stream the album. Let me know what your favorite tracks are. But I love you guys. Y'all stay far away from haters. They make you itch. And thank you so much for the support. And Kate, thank you so much for your platform and just being so patient and gracious and just being so great of a friend to me this long. Yeah, look, it's been almost 2
I
decades.
know it's been a
So
long time. And even to you too, Stardot Cruise. I see you on here, and Devin, we all appreciate you guys. And make sure you keep up with us, and we'll see you again on the next go round, like for him and for
love
me.
y'all.
So peace out, everybody.